Good evening, or whatever you want to call it. Uh, I'm your host, Josh from Toon Army Philly. I'm joined by my good mate on Tyneside, the one, the only Joe Kenja. How we doing?
I mean, I'm still processing all the emotions that match has just put upon us. I guess immediate feelings after the match finishing. I'm obviously feeling a bit deflated, but I know pride will come. There's definitely a lot of pride to take from that performance. But aye, mate, oof. That's football, isn't it? that is literally football. If you're going to show someone a match of what football is about, that's the match you show them. Oh my goodness.
It. I just. It's funny you say that because I was having similar thoughts, and I know I've talked a little bit about like at the office and stuff, some other fans and stuff, and I have a coworker who's kind of doesn't really have a team, so
Yeah.
I've been kind of trying to uh, be an apostle and prophet to him. And I was sitting there thinking, like, as we're going into those last couple minutes, like, man, I got to tell him to go watch this game and say, like, this is what this city is about.
Yeah.
Like, you know, screw all the bandwagons, and it's not always pretty. And man, will it get your heart going. But if you want excitement, I mean, come on, it doesn't get any less exciting.
It's that is it. I mean, there's just been a comment coming from Gromit, and Gromit, I 100% agree. And Gromit says, we don't want a team that wins, we want a team that tries. And we did that tonight on any other day. That's ours. Big up. That's ours. Big up tune. And honestly, that is literally like, that's all we can ask for. I obviously will be like, at first, I'm still getting over the emotions of losing and and we've lost our heads at times, whatever, Bruno getting the yellow, but we stuck out and we give everything to try and take something from that game, and we haven't taken nothing from that game. What we have taken is pride, and we just rattled Liverpool once again. So I'm not happy, I'm proud.
Listen, I just want to put this up real quick. Listen, man, if you're going to come here on our show after you just won, that goes and shows how much of a
Yeah,
joke your club is. I mean, you literally, that was an embarrassing performance. You almost threw
yeah.
away a hand gifted performance to you. So, you know, thank you. We'll don't keep us in our brain too long. I mean, if it wasn't for a wonder strike from Ekatike, which, listen, we'll get into it. I mean, credit where credit is due. But that's one of those ones where I don't know how you feel, Joe. Sometimes people call me again. I think I've mentioned this before, like a happy clapper approach. That's one of those ones that, don't get me wrong, it's a great goal. He meant it and whatever. But you can also see that happen five more times and it wouldn't go in. And
Yeah.
so like, can I be that angry at anyone over that? I mean, maybe some of the buildup you can be angry about or something like that. But at the end of the day, sometimes it happens and so be it. And even the same with the first goal from Gravenberch. I think there was an element of it was just well placed and a bit of fortune. I'm not going to say luck because, again, I think he meant it and he made a calculated decision. But there's so many times we'll see Barnes take that shot, Tonali take that shot, and it just hits the foot a millimeter to the right or the left, and it goes sailing into the east stand. So,
Yeah.
again, credit where credit's due, but it's one of those classic things where on another day, I think this could have really turned out a bit different.
Oh, without doubt. Yeah, like you say, I mean, their final goal from I keep forgetting his name. The young
I think it was like
Umgua.
Ogunda or something.
Yeah, look, brilliant opportunity from him as
Yeah,
well. Ekatiki took his opportunity well, but it's literally one of those where any player, it doesn't even have to be a striker, can take that shot and it'll go in. And Liverpool have had, I mean, it brought up the stats. I think something in the 85th minute, and it brought up the stats about how since Ekatiki's goal early in the first half, they'd had no more shots on goal. They'd had no more chances in the final third. Like that's huge for us. Like Liverpool have had a terrible game realistically, and they have scraped away 3 points. It's one of those where my frustrations is coming out again. It's a different day and a
yeah,
different set of results. Like a few different decisions going the other way. That is a completely different match, but this is football, isn't it? This is the joys and the heartbreak of it.
yeah. It's just so challenging because it's again we got to be realistic. Like we can't live in fantasy land and just say it was a good performance. Obviously, there were bad elements. Otherwise we wouldn't have conceded 3 goals. But I do think it's always important to look at the context of how those goals were scored. I'm not trying to pick on the lad, but just because it's like fresh in my brain, you think of Man City on the weekend and James Trafford and how those goals were conceded. Those were like, if that was how we were down 2-0, that would be a totally different tone to this game. But we weren't down off of per se poor play. It was just quality moments. You just got to be honest. So
Way. However, I think if that has been, it was kind of hard to see on the replay. It looked like it was a deflection off Shea, and if it has been a deflection, he's looked down on it. It's one of those of it's hitting the post. No, it's not. I'll jump for it. It's hitting the post. Yes, it is. Oh no, it's went in. It's a flip of a coin moment, and I don't really hold anything against Pope. I don't think Ramsdale comes out any better in that situation. And I really think as well the last goal has came because you've seen it. A lot of people are going to be like, well, who was marking him? Who was on him? Who was there? We're a man down. Where players are getting taken away on stretchers, basically. Like we
yeah,
are struggling, we are on our bones. It's gonna happen where that slips up. It was a war of attrition that Liverpool were able to win. And it was I just can't get over me. I keep getting these moments of, oh my God, we should have had a point from that, but then I keep getting this whole sense of pride from it. Just
yeah,
everyone put the heart on the line. I think the only person I can say was and I quotation mark this, a weak link was Harvey Barnes. I think in the first half, there's a couple of moments where Barnes should have probably maybe taken a moment before he's put a cross in. Maybe he's cut inside a couple of times instead, and he hasn't. But taken away from his performance, he's still hit a good 7 out of 10 performance.
yeah. Well, real quickly, just a reminder, as you guys know, this is a live fan reaction, and you guys can call in. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. The link should be in the description. If not, I'll throw it in the chat, but the link should already be there. So please come have your say. You don't have to have a camera, just needs to be a mic, and we'll get you added. But with that being said, we're going to bring in Matt, one of our writers, and get his thoughts. How you doing, Matt?
Wow, other than gut busting, 90 and then 10th minute, whatever it was, but nothing but pride from the performance.
Yeah,
That we deserved at least a point from that.
yeah,
The first half, the atmosphere was what we expected it was going to be.
yeah.
Your war flags, brilliant display from them as always.
It's
But
a shame the overseas broadcast never shows it, so I always have to wait and hope like Lee gets it or
Oh,
someone else to see. Or sometimes I can see some still pictures, but a lot of times the TV broadcasts come in right as kickoff is over here in the states, which really sucks.
oh yeah, you missed out on that now. But yeah, great display from that. And then the players, yes, they prepared
Oh, I don't know if it's just me. I think I've lost your mic, Matt. It's really quiet. I'm not hearing you. Maybe a Cord came loose.
Hold on, sorry.
There we go. Yep, there we go.
There we go. Loud and clear.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, no. So yeah, like the fed off the crowd and everything. Dan Burn, especially that first couple of minutes, you could see he was doing it. And then obviously the tackle happened.
One thing I do want to shout out, and then I got a question for you, Matt. Shout out in the comment. Yes, the title of the video is a bit misleading. I should have probably went and changed it yet again because we predicted the narrative was at halftime was going to be all about the red card, and we updated the title. And so, yeah, it's maybe a bit harsh trying to put any blame on Gordon at this point. So certainly, please disregard. We'll update the name of the video. But speaking of the red card, Matt, before we let some of the others who are patiently waiting in, what were your thoughts on the red card? Did you think it was a bit harsh? Do you think it was deserved? What were your thoughts?
It's one of them in real time moments when I seen it. I was like, that was a bit on there. Then they showed the replays of it, and then the more they showed there's like they can't really argue with that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's. I say initially it's straight away like no way, but then as soon as they started showing the VAR stuff, I was like, oh, he's gonna go here.
Yeah. I certainly agree with you. I actually missed it because the first 20, 25 minutes I was listening on the radio because I was still in the office, and then I caught the second half at home. And when I saw the replays, my first thought is it's one of those where it's like, I definitely don't think there was any intent in there. That was an intent to play the ball. And I get in the modern day that's called. The only thing that's frustrating is, we're going to see something like that in 2 weeks that won't be a red card. And that's the only thing that gets frustrating sometimes. Not that I'm saying it wasn't deserving of one, but it just, on another day, it may not have been.
What I do want to say as well, though, is I know there's going to be some fans, and one just came in the comments there, saying, shit, typical NUFC, we deserve to lose. And no, we did not deserve to lose. We didn't. We were very, very, very strong. We should have came away with a point. I agree, and to lose the point is horrible. But to lose, no, thank you. We give everything. That is one of the best performances I've seen us put in outside of the Carabao Cup final in the past year. That was an unbelievable performance, and
that's a team that might go on to win the league, maybe Champions League. Who knows this year? And they, at moments, look like they were holding on with a player more than us.
Yep. And a lot of people are mentioning it as well about the red card, and lads about yous, but there was a couple of moments where I do feel Liverpool should have been pulled up on VAR and should have had a red card. I will say that. I'm not going to sit here, though, as well, and I want to get this straight with fans, although I agree with that. I'm not going to sit here and focus on them points. Liverpool should have had a red card, because what I want to focus on is how good we were tonight. That is the focus point. Yes, we lost. Yes, fair enough, we almost had it in the bag. But we were phenomenal, and that should be the main focus point. We put it all on the line. We really did.
Well, any final thoughts from you, Matt, before we...
Well, I'd say to echo what Joe was saying there, really, it was the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, we was the one who looked like we had 11 players.
Yeah.
So that's exactly like one of my mates said in the group chat. We look like the one with 11 players, and it is just gut busting shot at the end, as you say. If we had a defender on, might have been covering that, but it's all if buts and maybes in it. But I'm proud of the team, and then we just got to try and use that and come back strong against Leeds at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it has been a pleasure, Matt. Good to see you again, thanks for calling in. Please check out. He put out a good article earlier in the week on the blog. Please always go and check it out. It's a good read, and thanks for your time, buddy. We'll catch you soon.
Cheers. Thanks, lads. Cheers.
Yep.
Check him out.
And with that, we will bring in Callum. How are we doing, Callum? Can you hear me now? Sorry, I had you on mute.
I'm all right. I just unmuted. But yeah, I'm all right. Thanks, guys. You?
Yeah, hanging in there. Other than that pesky little goal at the end, I'd be swimming.
very disappointed. I come in the last minute moment because I just listen on the Toon review or use a football to see what's going to go. It's unbelievable. It's a joke.
Yeah. So, what's your overall thoughts of the game, Connor?
Connor, what are you talking to me?
Oh, sorry, Callum. I'm so sorry.
It's alright. Don't worry.
Usually me
It's
who does
alright.
that as
No,
well,
don't
so I'm
worry.
glad
So
someone else did
Eh,
it.
it's alright. Well, I say we're doing alright. With the first time we were pretty good, and second we do again. Then again, still, I feel disappointed after Anthony Gordon.
yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I was as much as we had the momentum, I knew there was too much time to expect that momentum to go the whole way, and that was what made me nervous. I was instantly thinking of the game 3 years ago at Anfield with the last kick of the game, and in all honesty, it pretty much was freaking that again. But let's move on to one of the other kind of big points that was with the game. Unfortunately, with the injury luck we had last week, it looks like it went the other way this week. What are your thoughts? Are you concerned now? I mean, we're now without Gordon for 3 weeks or 3 games. We're potentially out with out Sandro and maybe Joe. Now, I think the Fabian
Oh,
Cher one. I think he'll be back. It's classic Fabian Cher. But what are your thoughts? Are you really concerned now?
I say really worrying. That's a downfall. I think that William Solo. I think he should start 11. Be honest, it's for start against Leeds this weekend because he needs to start 11 because we've only got one striker. That's the downfall,
Yeah.
and we would because of loads of injuries problem. I let that new player start the new centre back. I don't know his name from AC
Chow.
Milan. He's thanks. He needs to start the centre back because he could be a good stop for him.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was good debuts. What about you, Joe? I mean, again, I think one of the funny things about it, kind of like he alluded to there at the end, is as much as it was disheartening the injuries, everyone who came on, I think, put in a shift. Maya
Yeah.
looked good. Ramsey looked good. Chow looked good. I think Alanga had another solid game.
I think Alanga's proven why he gets that starting 11 straight away. He's fitted into the team beautifully, and he's worth every penny so far, I think, and he's going to have a great season. And then Miley coming back onto the pitch, I was worried at first. I was thinking, ooh, Tonali off and Miley on. That's not. There's a couple of times I looked at Ramsey and I thought, ooh, you're taking a little bit much direction than what I wanted. I would like you to flow by yourself. A fair few times Alanga pointing at him and saying, move to there, do this, and we don't really need that. But I'm still impressed with, like, you've got to think Malik Chow and Ramsey probably haven't had a lot of time training with the team, and they've come in and they've looked like, you know what, in a game or two they're going to fit well, and I could see them both starting 11. I wouldn't mind seeing, and as much as Dan Burn was one of the best players on the pitch tonight, I wouldn't mind seeing so far through this season Malik Chow and Sven Botman starting side by side. I think that is going to be an absolute power pairing. But I don't. You can't knock anyone who's came on tonight. They've all had a really good game. They've all fitted in well, and everyone's done a really, really, really good job. I'm going to keep on stressing about that. Everyone has fitted in perfect. There's little moments of oh, we need a little bit more gelling. People need to think a little bit more about when they're making the passes. Asula a couple of times, even Alanga a couple of times. Maybe he's run a little bit too much, done a bit too much work, but they are fitting in well overall. Great. One of the hardest games you can have in the season, and everyone fitted in. Who can complain, really? Who can complain?
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Thanks, chat, for letting me know about the sound. I think I know what's going on there, so I'll fix that the next time I bring up the chat. So please let me know if it's fixed next time I bring up the live chat. Before we let you go, Callum, what did you think of Bruno's goal?
I haven't seen it yet. I will look at the highlights later.
Okay, gotcha. Fair enough. Yeah, I literally was walking in the door right as it happened, and my wife nearly made me leave the house again because she said I gave her a heart attack because I screamed so loud.
Mhm.
So, anyways, well, any final thoughts from you, my friend Callum? Thank you for joining us yet again.
And no worries, and see you next time. Away the lads.
Yep,
Hello,
away the
lad.
lads. Take it easy,
Good, good.
buddy. So let me test the sound, Mr. Kenja. Can you give us your dulcet tones and see if it's working for them now?
Yes, of course, I can give you dulcet tones. I will make sure to keep on singing loud and proud over this moment. Make sure you keep your likes coming in. Make sure you keep the comments coming in. We are currently reacting to all the comments as best as we can. Matt says the sound is working. That's looking good. So smash them like buttons. Look at Josh on the job, running the show, hosting the show, and he's fixing it on the job. Yeah, everyone smash a like in the comments for Josh. Like, he's doing a cracking job. Love that. Absolutely
Thank you,
love that.
guys. Thank you,
Get up.
guys.
Get up. It's putting in as much of a performance as Newcastle did tonight. Everything could be going wrong.
I gotta
Things
make the
can go
city
wrong.
proud. I gotta
Oh,
make the city proud.
you're doing just that, my mate. You're doing just that.
Well, speaking of making the city proud in dulcet tones, we've got our friend from up north, Connor. How we doing, mate?
Yeah, I mean, what a game of football. First of all, I think any neutral watching that has been let in for a real treat. And I tell you now, you'll go some way to find a better game this season. And we're only 2 games in. I thought it was tremendous. I think we knew coming into it there was going to be a bit of blood and thunder.
Yeah.
You know, with it being Liverpool, the circumstances around Isak, um, which you know you can't entirely blame Liverpool for because Isak has to take responsibility. And to be quite frankly honest, if I'm Alexander Isak tonight, he should be watching that and he should be seeing that's what it's about when you play for this club. Every single one of those players who were on the park tonight, especially when we went down to 10 men, gave every single thing they could give. Yes, we're unlucky. I think we're desperately unlucky. I think Liverpool walk away tonight knowing how fortunate they've been. It's 2 weeks in a row they've had to survive with the late show. Now, listen, it's the mark of champions if you find ways to win games, but when you're playing 10 men and you go 2-0 up, 60 seconds into half, I mean, the manager, Arne Slot, hadn't even got out of the dressing room yet when they scored. So for me, they can consider themselves lucky, and those Newcastle players can hold their heads high. There are some glaring issues that you can see need resolving. I mean, we need a striker so desperately badly. I'm getting a bit fed up of every bid we're putting in for players at these clubs being turned down. It almost feels like, I'm not saying there is, but it feels like there's been some sort of, you know, cabal to stop us getting any strikers because you go to Brentford and they say, well, 30 million for Visa initially. You make a £40 million offer, they reject it because they want 60. I mean, it's just insane. And then obviously the Larson stuff. But if we can get a striker, I think will be a real force to be reckoned with because the first 35 minutes we absolutely ripped Liverpool to pieces. We just needed that final ball, that last little gas to score, and it was so good. I'm slightly disappointed with Anthony Gordon. I'm not going to lie, because I think it was needless. I don't, when
Yeah,
he sprinted across, I'm going, please don't slide in, because I knew if he slides here and gets it wrong, he'll go. And so it's really unfortunate that happened, but it just seemed to galvanise the team. I think backs against the wall, and the crowd, the crowd tonight were just outstanding. I mean, they
Oh,
never stopped. They
yeah,
never stopped. And people want to tell us that players don't want to come and play at Newcastle. They don't want to come to St James's. But why would you not want to play with that crowd behind you? 50,000 screaming Geordies the whole game, even at 2-0, even at 10 men, and they're still going. Why would you not want to be there?
Connor, do you know what? Sorry to cut you off, right, mate, but one thing I thought of, right, when that young'un scored that winning goal for Liverpool, right, what a memory that is. As nearly 17 years old, you get to turn around and say you scored that. That's your first goal in the Premier League on your debut. That is testament to what it means to play at St. James's Park and to play for that badge. I heavily second what you said about Isak, and he's got to open his eyes and look at what is at stake here. Pride, heart, love. It's just, mate, honestly, you always speak well when you come on, but that was just, that brought tears to my eyes. Owen to Connor there, like, Owen to Connor, I tell you, whoa. Woo!
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a class performance. We talked about it. I don't. That summarizes Newcastle in a nutshell and why I chose to support this club. I mean, because I don't think you will see that kind. When I say that kind of performance, I'm not saying like a win but the heart in that. I mean, you can see even Sandro, you could tell at moments was just fed up with it and just in general, like not like in a bad way, like he wasn't wanting to be there, just like that it meant something. He was annoyed that things weren't going our way. And I always think in the heat of the moment, there's different levels of like, you talk about Isak, and I really don't want to talk much about him because to me, I don't care what happens, he's forever dead to me. You can hold that, you can hold me to that. Even if by some crazy miracle he stays, who knows, and whatever, he's still dead to me. But where I was going with this is like, there's an element of in the heat of the moment when you look at the Brunos, the Joe Lintons, and so on, where you can tell they care. Like, yes, they put on acts sometimes, but there's a difference between you're in the heat of the battle versus like in a staged interview. When you're in the heat of the battle, you don't have the wherewithal to sit here and put on a mask or an act to care about it. You either do or you don't. And that's why, to me, I love everyone. As much as I am disappointed in Gordon, I do think, and I'm not begrudging anyone who's frustrated with him, but I saw someone in there saying like, we need to get rid of him. It's proof that he isn't like got it. To me, that's a totally false take because at the end of the day, whether it was a foolish decision, I wouldn't say it was like the Van Hecke thing where he let his actual temper get the best of him and make a dumb decision like I would do. Like when I'm playing FIFA and the CPU takes it from me and I decide I'm just going to instantly 2-foot him. That was basically what Gordon did at that Brighton game. What happened tonight, albeit I think a careless decision, was not on that same par. And you can see he's given his all. I'm not saying he'll be here forever, but anyways, before we let in Welsh Toon, he's been patiently waiting. Any final thoughts from you, my friend Connor?
Yeah, I think, going forward for me, and it was mentioned earlier, I think, by Callum, I think Usula has earned the right to get a start next week. And I think
Bang on.
with the fact that Gordon is now injured, then there goes your sort of auxiliary striker. Why not give it to Usula? Because I tell you, see, when he came on, I thought he was great. Yes, I will say he needs to be a bit cleaner at times on the ball. But the goal, I mean, that is a top finish for that goal. To take that the way he does first time, just a little flick past the goalkeeper. I mean, it's a tremendous goal, and he needs to start. I'll also say, we don't need to dwell on it, but Simon Hooper should never referee another Premier League game in his life.
That's
That the rules state, by the way, that captains are allowed to speak to referees. So why is it that when Bruno speaks to him and says, "Ref, that's a clear shove on Harvey Barnes," booking straight away? I mean, what world are we in where that's a bit? And you could tell he knew that was wrong because there was a couple of other challenges Bruno had that probably would have been bookings if he wasn't on a booking. But because he's given such a cheap one, he knows if I sent him off and it's 9 men for doing what captains are allowed to do, I'm in the IS storm. And
Yeah.
so I think that plays a part, but that can't overshadow things tonight. And it
100%.
can't overshadow Willis. So I give that man a starting jersey against Leeds. Let's see what he can do.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Connor. Thank you for joining again. Please call back soon. We'll be doing plenty more of these as the season goes on. But we will catch you later. With that, I'm going to bring in Welsh Toon. How are we doing, Welsh Toon?
How are you? I hope my audio isn't terrible. It might be terrible though.
It's
No,
quite clean, that, actually.
you sound
It's
great, my
working.
friend.
Ah, right, brilliant.
Fingers
Well,
crossed.
I'm very sort of excited about tonight's performance. To be honest, I am very excited with how we played. I thought Gordon, up until the red card, played phenomenally. I thought he had a few good touches. Yes, it's a heartbreaking moment at the end of the game, but well done to the team and well done to Eddie because I think he set out the team perfectly. And the atmosphere tonight, as it always is at St James's Park, was unbelievable, really unbelievable. So well done to the team and well done to the fans and obviously well done to Eddie.
No, and with that, I want to talk a little bit. We kind of started talking about it at the end there with Connor, but what were your thoughts on the officiating? Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think me and Joe agree. I don't think we can blame the result on that. I would not go, but there definitely was, in my opinion, a poor officiating performance.
Yeah, well, I don't think we can argue with the Gordon red. I think if that happened to one of our players, we'd probably say he's out of control.
Yeah,
And we probably, we'd be annoyed if it wasn't given as a red.
I mean,
But
to be
by the
fair,
same
that looked a lot
token,
like that Kai Havertz tackle a year and a half ago.
well, exactly. That's the thing, mate. It's the inconsistency that's really bugging fans,
Top six
and not
bias.
just us, but like Premier League wide. There's things that are given and not given, and it's the same sort of challenge. And yeah, there was a couple of other times where Liverpool players could have easily got a red card in the game, and I think that's where today we can kind of say yes, that should have kind of been a red, but also Liverpool players got away with a few challenges that I think were bordering on a red card at least, but we can't, we need to take solace in the fact that we did extremely well today and we battered them for the majority of the game. So that's where we need to take our positives from, to be fair.
So and I'll start with you, Joe, on this one, and then I'll come back to you, Welsh, and get your opinion. Of any of the people that we saw their first time appearances today, Chow and Ramsey, who of those two impressed you?
Chow all day long. Chow. I enjoyed Ramsey, I did, but I think there's some polishing needing to be done. Obviously, he's been the latest signing out of the two, so you can understand why. But Malik Chow was he seemed to slot into his role perfectly well. He was chasing the ball down brilliantly. Yes, I know some people might say he should have been the one marking the young lad that was up the mags in the background. I love that energy, but if we can keep that for a few. But yeah, I like Malik Chow. Malik Chow is definitely one who I think will get a start soon enough.
Okay, I guess he really wanted his case heard. I was going to get to you, my friend, but you disappeared. But anyways, Welsh Toon, what about you? Who were you more impressed of those debut performances, Ramsey or Chow?
Well, no, I've I don't want to, we don't know at this point whether they're, going to be injured for a prolonged time or they could be back next week for Leeds. We don't know. So it's a brilliant option to have. And then obviously I think Chow, it's hard. I think our defence did so well tonight. If Burn and Shaw were fit next week, I think they start, because I think they've done so well, especially Burn. Every sort of, flick on, he was intercepting. He was absolutely class tonight, Burn. He's, for me, he's definitely my man of the match for Newcastle. But I used to be a defender when I played football, so I've got a bias towards defenders. I think the whole team did very well. So,
well, on the defender side, real quick, we did have a comment in the chat about the last goal in the defending. Did you think there was anything that could have been done better on the defending on that front?
You asking me or Joe now?
Either one. Either one can go first.
I don't really know, to be honest. Like, it looked like Tino was following. Was it the man breaking into the box, a Bosley or someone? So he feels to me like he's got to follow that man, and then there's naturally a man at the back post, which I just thought, oh well, there we are. They've got the additional man, but. That's kind of how Eddie has always done this, even since his days at Bournemouth. He's always played attacking. He's always wanted to win the game as opposed to not lose the game. And we were 2-2, come back from the dead. Didn't look like we were going to get back at half-time. But Eddie, I think, was thinking, let's go nick this, even with a man down. And naturally, that's kind of led to this Liverpool attack where we've come undone and we've had to take our medicine. But honestly, boys, we should be more optimistic than pessimistic, because the team played extraordinarily well, and fair play to them. But yeah, it's a bitter pill to swallow, isn't it?
Very good. Well, it's been a pleasure, Welsh Toon. Thanks for calling in, and
thank you so much, Les. Pleasure to talk to you.
Take care, Toon.
Yep. So I'm going to bring over the chat again and get, if you can read a couple of those comments for me, my friend.
Look who we've got. Got it as an understatement. The lads give it their all. The crowd have given it their all, and we very nearly did it. I'm just so angry with the ref. Absolutely disgraced. Double standards in my eyes. JB and UFC, I feel like many will agree. Godfather Burn keeps getting better, which is bad news for Botman, I guess. I think that is a bit of an issue you've got to look at. How does Malik Chow fit into that starting lineup? How over Botman or Burn? Who do you give it to? I watched the game in a pub with just Liverpool supporters, so I know what you mean. That would have been hard for your Ches. Welcome into the chat, everyone. Keep your comments rolling in. I'm happy we aim for 3 points and risk getting 0 points. That's a good decision. 1 point is not so much. Henke, I agree with you massively, my mate. I think we went to give it our all, and we wanted to take all or nothing from that game. And if that has been Eddie's message going into that game, I don't know about you, Josh, but I'm all for that. All for that.
Yeah, and before we throw it to our next guest, who's got a very long name, so we'll ask him what he likes to be addressed as when we go to him. But for me, again, to kind of almost confirm this happy clapper of me, like if I'm going to lose, I'd almost lose that way every time. I mean, and be proud of that. I mean, obviously we want to win and things like that, but it's hard to be angry about that loss. What are your thoughts, my friend Shadrach?
So to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie, I've been really disappointed with the gameplay today. Where is Alexander Isak? I'm sorry, boys. Is he on injury? I don't know where he's went. You know what I'm saying? Like, where is he? Can he just get his ass on the pitch?
It's a great question. The world is really wondering. Where's your thoughts on where he's at?
I think he's looking for better clubs, to be honest with you, like Liverpool, for example.
Yeah, that could make sense. I mean, I hear they got a class fan base. After victories, they go on other channels, and then instead of just celebrating their wins. But yeah, I could see why he would want to do that.
No, to be honest with you though, I'm not really a Liverpool fan, but I'm going to be honest. Up the borough until I die, mate. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's even more small club mentality from someone like him to shout up the borough and then leave. That is typical smoggy territory there, right there. So well played. Anyone who's got the balls to come on and do that, I will certainly applaud you. But don't dive off after that, because Borough are sitting in a very, very terrible position there, and their women's team currently are better than the men's team. So that's a sad one for Shadrach there. But hey, take care, Shadrach. We appreciate you, my man. At least we'll know what it's like to play in Champions League.
Well, while I get ready for our next guest, Jack, we'll see if he's here to troll us too, but hopefully not. Keep giving the chats. Please, again, thank you for letting me know about the sound. Hopefully I fix it. Again, I see what the cause is, but every time I add a new guest, I have to remember to add them in. So anyways, my apologies. But with that, let's throw it to Jack and see what his thoughts are. Good evening, Jack. How are we doing?
You're alright, boys. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can hear you.
Spot on. Aye, well, I'm not yet to up the butter. Don't worry about that. I'm not yet to try.
I can tell straight away, Jack, by your accent, you sound like you're from
well,
Wild
that's it.
Listen, I'm no dialect
That's it.
specialist, but even I could pick up pretty quickly. I was like, nope, I think this one's legit.
He sounds
No.
like by
Yeah,
make
look.
like.
I'm not gonna lie, Reese. I'm absolutely buzzing out after the day. Like, swear to
Get it.
God, really am. I didn't just when I've been on YouTube after the match, I've seen loads of people doom and gloom, just because we didn't get the 3 points. But you know, there's a day. The day was about a message more than it was a result. Really
Yes.
was. Just out there to show everybody, yeah, we won't be bullied, we won't be pushed around, and even without a main striker and a man down, we'll still do the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got a
No,
goal at the end, turned the results. I mean, 11 minutes out of time, 17-year-old scored. You know what I mean? Good for him, but yeah, I bet you Isak's watching from wherever he is and thinking, if I was there, probably would have been 4-3.
Yep. He's got to look at that, and he's got to sort of. I feel like Isak's got to sort of hang his head, and it's for fans like all of us here. Like we're proud of that team, no matter what. We are so proud of what they've done, and that is the main focal point. And why would Isak not want to be part of that? You know, Liverpool fans have got nothing better to do than to try and come and jump onto Newcastle channels rather than celebrate a scrappy victory. That is something that needs to be looked at. The pride that we have in our players. You go out there and put it on the line. Do you know what it is? I haven't said enough, and Jack, Josh, I hope you both agree here, but Sandro Tonali was a fucking warrior tonight. He was a warrior. Dislocated his shoulder by the look of it, can we just say? And he cracks on. He's a boy.
If I didn't shoot my voice screaming for Asula's goal, I do the Warriors come out to
play.
No, you know what it is, right? It's not just Tonali. Everybody on there was a warrior. Asula scored a goal when he had to. Bruno, what a fucking captain. Come on. That man churned through that match and scored a goal. You know what I mean? Like, not one person on there didn't show up.
Definitely, fully agreed. I'm not even going to knock him anymore. Harvey Barnes done great, solid, because everyone did, and that should be the main focus, without doubt. Everyone shined. Everyone was just, I really, really did. As much as to come away from a game and to lose in such a fashion that we did, like, to be happy, especially when at that 45-minute mark at half-time, I didn't know about yous, but at half-time, I was like, hold on a minute, I'm not happy here. And then to finish the game and to be bouncing like I am and to be so proud and just happy, that says something, and it speaks for a lot for what Newcastle is about.
Honestly, when that Ekatike goal went in, I was raging.
Yeah.
Especially because selfishly, I'm like, man, this is going to be my first instant match reaction. Like, I better get out a fifth of vodka because this one's going to be rough. Because I'm one that I try to, even when I legitimately think, critique is due, I try to be a little bit understand it's one game, and let's just say nothing had turned around. It still would have been just one game, as disappointing as it would have been, and all the critiques would have been valid. But I mean, as we're going through shouting out lots of players, I mean, one player who is always forgotten. Well, I won't say always forgotten, but often overlooked. My man, Dan Byrne. I mean, just everywhere. I know we talked about him briefly, but again, that he gives everything. I mean, he had that flick on there at the end, and I thought for a second that flick on was going to go right to Ramsey, and unfortunately, I think it was Kirkez or one of them made a good block. But I mean, just what a stellar performance from our back line. Again, obviously there were moments that were not good. We wouldn't have conceded 3 goals if that, they obviously did make some mistakes, but still, you can't fault the effort. And as we've been harping on all night, that's all we've ever asked for as Newcastle fans is just
Can I just interject there as well?
Sure.
Just a massive praise to the new signings as well.
Yeah.
Malik Chow and Jacob Ramsey come on, and they didn't set the world on fire, but both of them look really promising. I'd say more Jacob Ramsey than Chow. Chow looked a little bit nervous, but he's young, and Elanga as well. He done a job. Maybe Jacob Murphy could have come on. Maybe Jacob Murphy knows the system and the patterns of play a little bit better, but still promising. Let's see where they're at by, say, Christmas.
But they're going to be flying. I think I don't know what you've seen, but just before Anthony Gordon's red card, I seen Jacob Murphy was actually doing some runs on the sideline. I think personally the plan was, with the way we were playing, I think it was to be Harvey Barnes to come off at half time and Jacob Murphy to come on and to play Elanga in the centre, who was making more powerful runs, I felt, in the first half. Murphy on the right and Gordon on the left. And I feel like that would have been impactful. Obviously, I feel like the reason Murphy hasn't come on was because of Gordon's red card. It was hard to bring him on after that. Otherwise, I think Murphy would have came on. I think the game would have been completely different. But that's getting into what ifs. So yeah, but on it, everyone, beautiful, great, amazing.
Definitely could have been the plan there. Of course, obviously, once you get a red card, everything changes. But what I do want to say is, I'm buzzing that Anthony Gordon managed to get a little bit of payback towards Van Dijk after Van Dijk left him with a black eye last time because
yes.
Van Dijk, you did.
Well, before we let you go, Jack, we've got another guest patiently waiting. Who would you give your man of the match to tonight?
That's a tough question, but obviously, talking about Newcastle's man of the match, yeah,
without doubt.
You got to give it to Bruno personally. Personally, I think just for the job that he scored a goal, and I feel like Bruno, when everybody else's heads dipped after going 2 goals down, he sort of brought all back up.
Yeah. He's a hero indeed. He is a proper hero.
It's been great, Jack. Please call back again soon, and we will get to.
I will do. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to my little brother James. You interviewed him in the town the other day.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Bouncy James.
Bouncy James,
yeah man, Bouncy James was a boy, and James needs to get on this sometimes. Jack, yeah,
he's itching to get on, right? He was like, I'm dying to get on. So next time we do a live, I'll try and get him on next time.
Yes, what a belt. Yeah, Jack, take care. All the best.
Awesome. It was great chat with you, buddy. Catch you soon.
You too, boys. You too. Watch what you're doing.
Take care, mate.
In a bit.
So I'm going to throw it over to Morgan. How are we doing, Morgan?
Not very good.
Why is that?
Because I'm 3 packets in, looking at the score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm kind of like a trophy hunter, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the game?
Just misery, despair, depression. 3 words for me to sum that game up. That was an absolute eyesore. I felt like drenching my eyes with bleach.
Yeah. Well, it was good to have you call back, Smoggy. I thought it might have been you again.
It's not the Excuse me. This is.
And while I get things braced for our friend Ulfer from Iceland. I'm going to throw it to the chat and let you talk about a few of the recent comments, my friend.
Yes, so we've got straight away, obviously everyone marking that out straight away. What can I say? Whenever Newcastle puts a performance on, you always get people crawling out the woodwork who want to try and bring it down. But an absolute class performance. Make sure you keep hitting the like. Sorry to talk about Isak from Matt Lewis, but if he is still here to come September 2nd and the reintegration happens, this game will get used behind the seasons. Bruno, Joe Linton and Tonali, Warriors, without doubt. I think everyone says that. Henke with the big Bruno legend. He is. Good father saying good shout. I believe that's for the man of the match. Justification for Ramsdale to start against Leeds. Ooh, Kadav, that's an interesting question. I think everyone should be looking at answering that. Does Ramsdale start against Leeds? Do you give him that? I'm not so sure I start Ramsdale against Leeds. I don't think Pope has had a terrible game. I don't even think he's had a bad game. Some things have just went against him. No Ramsdale.
Yeah, I mean, I would say before I throw it to our buddy Ulfer, in my opinion, if Eddie wasn't starting Ramsdale tonight, Pope did nothing tonight to warrant him being dropped.
Yeah, agreed.
What about you, Ulfer? What are your thoughts? Any critiques or concerns about Pope's performance?
Yeah, not in the. I thought maybe in the first goal, but the other two not.
Yeah, fair enough. He was a little flat-footed on the first goal. You know, potentially if he had been on his toes, he might have been able to make an effort, but fair enough.
But I thought most of the lads did a good job today. I mean, it's not. And even, I mean, it was stupid red card though, to be fair, from Gordon.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, but I was actually I was saying to the lads that we should bring someone on, you know, earlier in the game. So I mean it's unlucky we got injuries, but I wanted Osula on much sooner, and also the new signings. So
I'm glad Asula though, I'm glad he's got more than the typical 5 minutes. He's ended up getting, with the added time, he's ended up having a good 30 minutes. And I think in that 30 minutes, he has used it well. And I think it gives an argument for Asula maybe to start against Leeds, do you think?
yeah, I think there's a player there. He can play very.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, he's skillful. He's not just good at scoring. He can take on players, and you know, I think he's a good player.
I do. I think there's something special in him as well. I think he is one of those next big things. He just does need more game time, definitely. And I think that's a good start tonight for him to get that good half an hour on the pitch. I think there is definitely scope for him now to go forward and to start. And I don't see why not. He's great. He's raw, but he's good. I will not have no talk about Sula not being good. He is great.
Just curious, you know, I know we said who's Newcastle's man of the match, you know, trying to remove our black and white tinted glasses. Who would you say was the man of the match as a whole?
Ooh. It's a
You
hard
know, it's CO putting a shout in there for Van Dijk. I mean, I don't think he had a poor game, or I mean, he made some important clearances on set pieces. I would say, I don't remember him being involved in anything else super crazy.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I'm going to go and agree with Ches here. Szoboszlai for me. Szoboszlai was probably the man of the match, but very close. I think he was the best player on Liverpool's squad, followed by Van Dijk. I think they were the two who kept them in the game. But my overall man of the match is probably going to have to be... No. Tino Livramento. He would be my man of the match. Ulfa?
I'm just gonna say for the spirit, I'm gonna say Bruno.
Bruno! Oh, his name comes across even better in your accent, Ulfa. Like, we can't do it the beauty that you can.
I like the spirit in him. You know, he seems like he cares about the club, and that comes across. I think
it does. It speaks volumes.
Yeah. It's hard for me. I think I'm going to have to go Bruno as well. Sticking with it again. I did miss a lot of the first half. I was just listening to it on the radio while I was still in the office, so I couldn't see a lot of. But I mean, a lot of the play was just being run through those. I mean, again, the shame of Gordon getting taken off, getting from what it sounded like, he had a handful of opportunities, and again was causing some troubles. So, you know, Asula, I think, really needs to take his chance. I mean, we all love him, and I think he gave an important statement of his case tonight. But he needs to keep doing that. Otherwise, I do think it was interesting. Let's rewind a week. Gordon said, interestingly, in that post game interview, which was overshadowed by some other words. But he went on to say that he saw himself as eventually shifting into that role, which I thought was interesting because kind of before then I was just kind of standardly really not liking it. But it does, I think, bode give me a little bit of solace that he's open to it. He doesn't see it as like a burden because he clearly felt like going to the right last year was a burden to him.
Yeah, it was. It's a hard game at the moment for us because we've got so much to contend with. Who's the best to be up front? We've got a lot of untested people up front. Realistically, the only person we'll have who is tested up front truly is Gordon. And I just don't see it at Newcastle for Anthony Gordon for a centre-forward role. England, he does brilliant, but for some reason at Newcastle, it just doesn't click. But it's hard. It's really hard.
Gordon is not a striker, in my opinion. He's a good winger, but as a striker, he's not scoring goals.
He hasn't got the finish because there's a few times today before his red card where he could have potentially finished. And I noticed the commentators were very quick to be like, oh, Isak would have finished that. And even, no, Bruno, that header that Gordon done, and it went just over the top. Brilliant header, just missed. In another game where we're winning 1-0, you're happy for him to miss that. I think Bruno scores that. I think Joe Linton scores that. I think Dan Burn scores that. I think there's a fair few other players on the team who score that before Gordon ever was going to score that. So, yeah, Gordon's not a striker. He's not for us. He's a brilliant winger, and that is what he needs to stay as. So, Ursula. Yeah, Ursula is the one who needs to stay up front, I think, and be moved into that position if no other one else comes in.
Before I go to you for your final thoughts, Olfer, just get some housekeeping out of the way. We dove right into it. We've got 50 of you guys watching. Thank you so much. Please hit that thumbs up. We've got a really great ratio. We've got 50 likes, 56 watching. Keep hitting that thumbs up. Get the algorithm going. I know there's been a lot of other channels going live right now, and we're kind of new, but we appreciate you joining us and giving us a chance. But please stay tuned. Lee will have all kinds of the usual content coming your way, grading the players, last word, all that great stuff. So please keep your notification bell lit up and go ahead and subscribe while you're at it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Oh.
So going back to our good old friend Ulfer, what are your final thoughts on the night? Are you more confident that we'll still get a result against Leeds, or are you nervous now with all the fallout of injuries and suspensions?
Nah, I mean, we have to get 3 points against Leeds, in my opinion. It's I mean, if we want to stay in the top 8 where we want to be, it's the type of game which we have to win, no matter what, in my opinion. But we need to sign a striker soon, in my opinion. I mean, I love Ursula, but we need to get striker in also.
Yeah. And who's that striker going to be is the big question now. Is it going to be? Is it going to be Isak? Because personally, I don't really want Isak after the debacle at Brentford. Is it going to be Strand Larson? I think at this point we've got to accept that the position we're in, thanks to Isak and thanks to Liverpool, we need to accept we're going to pay a little bit over the odds. We're going to end up having to pay an extra 5 or 10 million. And if that's the case, so be it. We just need that striker now. It needs to happen.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you again, Ulfer, for joining us. And I know you got to drop too, Joe.
Yep.
So thank you for joining us along.
Thank
I'm
you
going
for
to
having
bring in
me.
one last guest, and then we will call it a night. Just bear with me 1 second. The Cape Chuckler has been waiting patiently, but I'm going to pull up the chats. Can you just read the chats for a couple more moments for me, my
Of course
friend?
I can, my mate. Of course I can.
Oh, thank you.
So is rating the players going to be live?
Hello,
No.
boys. Hello.
Rating the players will not be live. It will be recorded at the minute. Lee is currently on his way back from St James's Park as we speak. He's recorded the last word. That'll be coming out over the next, like, say, 8-12 hours. You'll have rating the players coming out. Keep an eye on it tonight. If you're a late night owl, keep an eye in the morning. It's a lot of Liverpool fans in the comments there, like, and some of them aren't even from Liverpool themselves. Jane Atlanta, I think it's possible, no crazier than how the rest of the window has gone. This is the Toon, we don't do normal. Talking about how there was a rumour coming out, and it was coming out just before the game, that Isak was going to be getting a new contract. You've seen Al Rumyan, owner, and Jamie Rubin in today. Have they been to Isak's? That is certainly the rumour. Have they convinced him to stay and give him a bigger wage? Only time will tell, and it is certainly not something I think people were expecting to potentially happen in this whole saga. Liverpool fans were shaking and got a close 3 points and act like they smashed us 7-0. Jack, once again, well said, mate. Well said. I love that. Your
Thank
energy's
you,
been
Joe. Yeah, I thank you for trudging through those tough comments. I appreciate you joining me as well, always. I will see you soon, my friend.
not a
I'm
problem.
going to
Take
bring
care,
on
Josh.
the Cape Chuckler. How we doing, mate?
Hello, boys. Hello.
How you doing?
Very, very good. Very good.
So what are your thoughts on the game, my friend?
I think it was very, very nice football. I feel like both teams play very well, but there's an obvious winner, and I knew from the start it would have been Liverpool.
Fair enough. Who do you think was man of the match?
I would say Chuba Akpom.
Okay.
What would you
Well,
say?
who would I say? Well, as
Yes.
I said earlier, Bruno. I think he played a solid one, although he lost. I mean, I could see a good shout for Slaboslai or Shaboslai. But yeah, I mean, I think we put in a good performance. I take it you're maybe a Liverpool fan.
Of course, of course.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, from your point of view, what did you think of the performance? Do you think it's something that if you saw it in the roles reversed, you'd be proud of Liverpool putting in that performance, or do you think we're just kind of trying to ease the pain?
I would say you guys need to get a nice player like Morgan Rogers.
It's a good shout. Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be a great addition in the midfield. I mean, I think it'd be hard to get him from Villa now after they've sold Ramsey, but yeah, I think that would be a great addition. So, final question for you as a Liverpool fan: do you think you get Isak before the end of the window?
Yes, yes. I know I'm going to get Isak. Very good.
Okay. Well, appreciate your thoughts, my friend, and we will get you guys
Okay,
soon.
up the power, up the power.
Well, with that, we will move on. Thank you again, guys, for joining us. Obviously, not the result we wanted with that late goal from Liverpool. But again, I think there's a lot to be proud of. Obviously, there's things to be disappointed and always improve. But yeah, again, please stay tuned to the channel. Lee will have all kinds of content coming for you. I'm sure he'll have great videos of the War Flags display and all the goal reactions. Thank you again to Joe and all the guests for helping us along. But yeah, it was great. And hopefully you will join us next time. Please, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button on the way out. Consider subscribing. We've got memberships that start at just 99 cents. So it would be great to have you help the channel continue to grow. Thanks, and I'm going to leave you guys there. Away the lads.